Hey everyone, SpiritBomb94 here. Today we will find out if we can beat Pokemon Brilliant Diamond with only a competitive Infernape. The rules are that I am not allowed to use items in battle, however, hold items are acceptable and I can only use one Pokemon in this run. Since I'm not sure how to start off with modern Pokemon, the run will actually begin when we finish the first gym in order to trade the Chimchar that I want to play with. I think the biggest challenge will be the first 4 gyms only because the level cap will work against us as we will get boosted experience for having a traded Pokemon. A Pokemon not obeying us will definitely not work well in the first half. If you don't know what competitive Pokemon are, they have the best stats and usually have 5 to 6 individual values or IVs. Our Chimchar will have the egg moves Fire Punch, Power Up Punch, and Thunder Punch for coverages. Comment below at what level you think we can beat Cynthia. I'm also still learning how to edit and have decided to cut out any of the Team Plasma side of the story to save time. If you would like to see that content as well, please let me know in the comments below. We have named our rival Cheat as homage to my best friend, and we will meet up with him to go to the lake to meet the professor and Lucas. We naturally start off with Chimchar as we get attacked by Starly. Moving ahead, we meet up with our rival outside of Jubilife City, and begin our first rival battle. He sends out Starly and I send out Chimchar. I use Ember on Starly and he retaliates with Tackle. I can't begin to tell you how badly I just want to move on and get our actual Chimchar we will be working with. Hopefully we don't have to spend too much time getting him. After Starly, next comes out Piplup, and the only thing we can do to each other is pound, scratch, growl, and leer at each other. After a few hits between us and canceling out our stat drops on each other, we take the dub. I'm glad that this is the only rival battle I have to do until after the 4th badge. Made our way to the first gym leader Rourke, and after several failed attempts not beating his Geodude as just a Chimchar, I opt to evolve him and we do much better. He starts off with Geodude as we start off with a Power Up Punch to boost our attack as he defense curls trying to double rollouts attack the next turn, but we beat it with another Power Up Punch. Next up is Onyx, and we use another Power Up Punch as he goes for Rock Throw. I switch over to Mach Punch with certainty that we will knock out the Onyx. Cranidos is last, and one Mach Punch is all we need to take it down. With that being said, we get our first gym badge. Once we have the first gym badge, I trade my brother the Starly I caught for my Chimchar named Donnie Yen. I think he's appropriately named. What do you guys think about the name choice? Should I continue to nickname the Pokemon in the future? Let me know. Our next challenge is Gym Leader Gardenia. As you can tell, Monferno does not obey me after the first 3 attempts. We finally get this run where we can beat Gardenia. I think the ability to obey just comes down to choosing the right moves. Monferno even falls asleep in this attempt, but thanks to a Chesto Berry that I equipped, he wakes up. This was not the first time he fell asleep before a battle, and I was not about to put up with it. So after beating her Cherubi, Turtwig was next, and with some luck I was able to defeat it. Not before Turtwig put up a Reflect halving the physical damage I do to her team. Maybe we should do a Turtwig run next? Anyways, next is Roserade, and we are still trying to test our luck when she paralyzes me almost immediately. I fall asleep and thankfully the berry activates and we knock her out. With all that hard work being put in, we finally obtain the second gym badge. I think it's going to take a while for me to actually get to a point where I don't struggle with Donnie obeying my attacks or not. Sadly, I have to get the 4th gym badge before I'm able to see any sort of progress. The act of not obeying is really going to put me in a bind between now and Crash Your Wake. I wish we could have remained under-leveled for the beginning half of this run, but it just gets even more difficult as time goes on. Even whenever I don't have the level cap anymore, we still have trouble because I only have one Pokemon. Since we have max EVs in attack and speed, maybe I should have invested some in defense. That's not realistic at this time though, since I've already started the run and saved multiple times. Our next fight is Gym Leader Maylene. I made the incredibly stupid decision of following through with the gym trainer battle and leveled Donnie to level 31 before I began the fight. I tried this battle for about 30 minutes before I got this incredibly lucky run. First is Metadite, and we struggle to keep up with it. Donnie isn't obeying us anymore, and we keep losing HP. Thankfully, I had a Figgy Berry to heal some of our HP. We raise our attack stat with Power Up Punch as she raises her attack and defense. Luckily, our next attack hits and we knock it out. That was incredibly close. By some stroke of luck, we managed to land another Fire Punch, knocking out her Machoke. And by the grace of God, we managed to land our last attack on Lucario, winning us our 3rd gym badge. This battle was incredibly short and very luck-based. However, it showcases how different it is to have a competitive Pokemon at this point. The fact that we can knock out entire teams with just a single Pokemon really puts us at an advantage. However, I still think I'm going to have to be at least level 90 before I win since Cynthia's team is incredibly based. Before our 4th gym leader battle, I had to grind Donnie enough to evolve him into Infernape. Now this is where the real fun begins, because of the stat increases. And now we're on to Crash Awake. The 4th gym badge was by far the most difficult to obtain. Right off the bat, Gyarados is up first and we lose attack thanks to Intimidate. We try to make up for it by using Power Up Punch. Gyarados uses Brine to bring us to about 2/3 when we land our next attack and knock it out with Thunder Punch. I didn't want to power up too much because every bit of HP is worth it. Next is Quagsire and we get a lucky hit and knock it out with Close Combat. I think this may be the moveset we have until the end of the run. Anyways, Floatzel is up next, and for whatever reason, Wake decides to use Bite instead of a water move, and that worked out for us because we lost a turn. Our Citrus Berry activates and heals us a little before we get our next attack off. We finally have our badge, and Pokemon up to level 50 will obey. Luckily, we're still at the high 30s, so this might be where we no longer have obeying issues. So unfortunately, I did lose the footage for the 5th gym leader against Fantina. Just know that we absolutely crushed her, and we're moving forward. Right outside the 4th gym, our rival decides he wants to battle us again. He still has a Starly and sends that out first, but we obliterate it with a Thunder Punch. Why he doesn't evolve it into a Staravia yet is unknown to me. Next up is Prinplup. I think the AI in this game thinks that it would have the type advantage. However, we are too powerful and we also defeat it with a Thunder Punch. Ponyta is out shortly after and we take it down with a close combat. It's weird to think that Chimchar and Ponyta are the only fire types available for a majority of the game, excluding the underground. Anyways, Roselia is last, and a fire punch is all it takes to beat him. I imagine that we won't have any trouble in any further rival battles. Also, this is what it looks like when a Pokemon actually obeys its trainer. We just cruise right on through. As we make our way to the 6th gym leader, I'm surprised by the sheer number of battles we have with our rival. I'm sure my buddy is getting a kick out of seeing his name on here. He sends out Staravia first, and its Intimidate lowers our attack, so we use Power Up Punch to cancel it out. He uses Double Team to raise evasiveness as we knock it out with Thunder Punch. These battles are literally going by so smoothly, and I'm having next to no difficulty now that I don't have an inobedient Pokemon. Next up is his ace, Prinplup, and we knock it out with Thunder Punch. I really love the idea of having an Empoleon. His design and typing are original, and he could be a strong contender against Infernape in these runs. Next, Cheat sends out Heracross, but a Fire Punch makes short work of it. Having high attack EVs and only physical attacks this early on is working to our advantage. Next to last is Ponyta, and we destroy it with close combat like last time, as our rival tells us how he's doing his best. It's not enough though. I never really knew why they try to make the characters have that much personality. I guess it's appealing to those that want a good story. Anyways, Roselia is last and we finish it with a fire punch. We have one more rival battle in the future and I don't think we're going to lose anytime soon. Hopefully we don't have any difficulty later on. On our way through Candice City, we met up with Rorik's dad and challenged Byron to a gym battle. He sends out Bronzor first, and a Fire Punch takes it out immediately. I never really cared for Bronzor or Bronzong. Legends of Arceus just made me dislike them more since they're aggressive there. Anyways, next up is Steelix, and since I knew he might have Sturdy, I just used Power Up Punch as he goes for Earthquake to take us to the red zone. I'm really pushing it at this point. I use a Fire Punch to knock out the Steelix. I'm really worried about being knocked out. Bastiodon is next and I'm sweating the victory. I know he has Sturdy and I use Fire Punch to hopefully just put it just out of range of healing. He misses Stone Edge as I'm literally shaking because I'm so nervous. This was our first attempt, so I wouldn't have been mad at all. I end the battle with the close combat, getting us our 5th gym badge. It only took one attempt, and I'm glad we had a first try victory. Our 7th gym leader is Candice, the Ice-type leader. As you can probably guess, it didn't take me any time at all to get through her team with Infernape being Fire and Fighting type. First, she sends out Snover. I remember seeing this Pokemon back when Diamond and Pearl came out, and I specifically avoided it because Ice and Grass typing was just atrocious to me. I know it's adorable, but still, I didn't like it. One Fire Punch was all it took. Anyways, next she sends out Sneasel. This would have been a great time for them to show off Weavile or Weevil, since it was a new Pokemon in this generation. Oddly enough, Medicham, the Ice-type Pokemon, was next, and this was where I was thrown in for a loop. I wasn't expecting it there. I used one Fire Punch to bring it down, and last was Abomasnow. As you can guess, Fire Punch was the only thing that we needed to use throughout the entire gym battle to earn us the 7th gym badge. We're almost done with this run, and I'm having a ton of fun doing this. Finally, we're at the 8th gym leader, Naruto's dad, Minato. Wait, I'm sorry, the electric-type gym leader, Volkner. He starts off with Flying Raijin as I use Summoning Jutsu. Wait, he starts off with Raichu as I send out Infernape. I battled him at least 8 times before I got this run where we win. Power-Up Punch has been the staple of my moveset since we get to not only increase our attack stat, we get to attack at the same time. Unfortunately, I get paralyzed because of static, which is fine anyway since he used Nuzzle. Through the power of friendship, we cure ourselves from the paralysis. Since we're at a +1 attack, I think we can move on and Fireball Jutsu Raichu, knocking it out. Next is Ambipom. I'm anticipating a fake out, and it connects. I wasn't aware he had a Chople Berry to reduce the damage of a fighting type move as we use Close Combat. It doesn't matter though, and it gets knocked out. Octopops gets sent out next, but we use Close Combat, and it's just too much for it. Luxray is last, and with 2 defense drops and Intimidate knocking us back down to +0 attack, it makes me feel pretty nervous. I shouldn't be nervous though because Close Combat knocks it out, securing us the 8th gym badge. I'm kinda scared to see what lies next since it took us 8 tries to beat Volkner, but I'm pretty sure we can make it. This is the last time we face our rival, and it goes just about as smoothly as you'd expect. He finally starts out with Staraptor, and its Intimidate automatically puts us down to a -1 attack decrease. I can't fight his entire team with the stat drop, so I go in for a power-up punch hoping that I can survive at least one Brave Bird. I overestimated my rival, and for whatever reason, he goes for a Rain Dance, decreasing the Fire-type move damage that I have and increasing Water-type damage. Lucky for us, we have move coverage. We go in for Thunder Punch and knock it out. Next is Snorlax, and although he is bulky, I'm not concerned in the slightest since I have faith that Donnie can send him to the Shadow Realm. We drop him to about a quarter and land a critical hit power-up punch as he yawns us. If we fall asleep, it may be game over. The next turn we use a power-up punch and fall asleep when we knock him out. Next is Empoleon, and we're still asleep after attempting a Thunder Punch. He goes for a Brine and it brings us down to 5 HP. If we don't wake up now, it's over for us and we will have to try this battle again. Luckily, we wake up and go for an all-out offense and Close Combat, knocking him out. Next is Roserade. Since it's no longer raining, we can use Fire Punch to its usual potential. It's a one-shot, and he sends out Rapidash next. Rapidash has Flash Fire, so it would be silly to attack a Fire type with a Fire type move, especially when it would take no damage. We end up close combating and knocking it out. Since we're in the red, we're in range for Blaze to kick in and increase our Fire type damage output, which wouldn't make a difference as we knock out Heracross with a Fire Punch. That was a close battle. I don't think we will have another battle like this for a while, since it was incredibly easy compared to what the Elite Four has in store for us. As you can see, my level jumped from level 65 to 73. I was finding it so hard to consistently beat Drapion at the lower levels, and especially other Pokemon from the Elite Four, that leveling up was the only option. I finally got this run where I was able to beat Aaron easily. He starts off with Dustox, and I can one-shot it easily with Fire Punch. Next is Heracross. I could easily beat it with Fire Punch, but that won't make Drapion any easier. So I attack with Power-Up Punch as he drops me to about half HP with a super effective Earthquake. He activates Guts with the self-inflicted burn, and I knock it out with a Fire Punch. Next is Beautifly, who gets knocked out with a single Fire Punch, and then Vespiquen, who also gets knocked out with a single Fire Punch. Lastly is Drapion, who gets destroyed by our close combat. This was honestly one of the earliest levels I could consistently beat him. I wish this was a level that I had to be in order to beat Cynthia, but that'll be addressed later on in the video. Now it's time to go against Bertha. What can I say about her? Well, not anything nice since she had stopped me in my tracks way more consistently than any other Elite Four member. Ground-type Pokemon are just so good compared to my lone Fire-type. She starts off with Quagsire, and although I'm not really sure what its ability is, I'm pretty sure that it's unaware since in my previous attempts, it literally didn't change the damage output for Power-Up Punch. I opt for close combat hoping it's a range, but it's not. Anyways, she tries to poison me, but Toxic misses. Leftovers activates for her, but she still goes in for a full restore. Predicting this, I go ahead and use Power Up Punch to raise my attack. Since she just healed, I'm aware that close combat won't do anything. Anyways, I get cocky and go for a second one as she misses another Toxic. I go for a final Power Up Punch and knock it out. I'm at +3 attack right now. Whiscash has proven to be a threat to me for a few attempts, and since I have such a high attack, I go in for the knockout with close combat, knocking it out. Now, we're at a -2 in both defense stats, and she sends in Golem. Golem is known for having the ability Sturdy, which prevents a possible one-hit KO move. I go in for Fire Punch knowing that it would survive anyway, and it drops us down to 1 HP as Donnie pulls through with the power of Friendship. Since Golem is at a lower enough HP, I go for Power Up Punch and raise myself to +4. Next is Sudowoodo. It really doesn't do anything as it faints after a close combat. Last is her ace hit Powdown. If I don't knock it out in one hit, I'm done for since she has Sandstream. Luckily enough, we managed to land close combat for the last time, winning us the battle. The third Elite Four member is the fiery redhead Flint. All of his Pokemon are mainly fire types, or no fire type moves. During this battle, I started to realize that all the Elite Four had competitive items for their Pokemon. First, he sends out Rapidash as I send out Donnie. My usual strategy is to raise my attack 3 to 4 times to sweep through the rest of his team, and this isn't any different. I drop him to about half as he tries to increase Rapidash's speed with Flame Charge. After that, he outspeeds us and goes for a Poison Jab that brings us down to about 3/4 HP, but luckily we didn't get poisoned. One more Power Up Punch knocks it out. Next, he sends out Lopunny. This is the perfect Pokemon to use Power Up Punch with as the move knocks it out. I'm sure that the crit didn't matter though. Next is Steelix, Steel and Ground type Pokemon. I'm sure he has Sturdy as the ability, so I'm going to Power Up Punch one more time to see what I can do. And hopefully get the next turn as another chance to use Power Up Punch, but it turns out he wasn't Sturdy and we knock it out. Drifblim is out next and we can easily sweep from here. I pressed the wrong move, but Fire Punch takes it out anyways. Last is Infernape, and I remember that he has a Focus Sash, so we can use Power Up Punch again to see if we can just break the Sash. His Infernape close combats and brings us down to about a third as we go in for the knockout with a final Power Up Punch. We beat Flint on our third try. 3 down, 2 to go. The last member of the Elite Four is Lucian. He mainly uses Psychic types. He starts off by sending out Mr. Mime and I send Donnie out. As per my usual strategy, I use Power Up Punch knowing I won't do anything to him since he's Psychic and Fairy type. It gets even worse when he puts up a Reflect. I go for another Power Up Punch as he goes for Psychic, bringing us down to 35 HP. It definitely freaked me out seeing my HP bar drop down so far. Luckily that was a critical hit for him, and it wouldn't have knocked me out anyways. I end up realizing I'm in Blaze range and go for a boosted Fire Punch to knock out the Mr. Mime. Next, he sends out Alakazam. I'm still in Blaze range, and I go for a +2 attack Blaze boosted Fire Punch. It's almost like Reflect wasn't there as Alakazam faints. Girafarig is his third Pokemon, and probably the only one in his team that is out of place. My strategy has now changed to being Fire Punches left and right. Reflect is still in play, and it doesn't matter anyway. He sends out Medicham fourth. I feel like Megas should have been a thing in this game because it would make it more interesting in these last few battles. Anyway, I have no idea why I'm pausing in this clip, but I'm sure I was evaluating my options. Medicham gets taken out by a single Fire Punch, Bronzong is last, and Fire Punch knocks him out. I feel like these battles are anticlimactic since all I do is boost my attack and spam moves until I win. Beating Lucian brings us to the champion Cynthia. It took me literally 43 tries to beat her. And in order to win at this level, I needed very specific things to happen since I was only getting to about the third Pokemon on most good attempts. The first thing I needed to happen was to get a critical hit Fire Punch on Spiritomb. Even with my high attack stat, I was unable to one-shot the Spiritomb. He was just way too bulky for Infernape to beat in one turn. With the power of friendship, I was able to land a critical hit. Her second Pokemon was always Gastrodon. The second thing I need to happen here is for Gastrodon to not land a critical hit. It's also a really bulky Pokemon and we don't have a move that hits it for super effective damage, so this is where my usual strategy kicks in. I go in for Power Up Punch as she brings us down to a little over half our HP. She heals with leftovers. I'm in range to knock it out with close combat, avoiding a critical hit, but my defenses are dropped. Third is Milotic. I've tried it in the past where I use Thunder Punch instead, but it's just not able to knock it out, even with super effective damage. Or at least it's a range and I don't always knock it out consistently. Roserade is thrown out fourth, so I tried this run a few times with Flare Blitz, but it would never work out for me since I took a ton of recoil damage. Fire Punch was a solid option since it has a nice base damage and can even cause burns without the risk of recoil. Anyways, Roserade gets taken out with a single Fire Punch. Fifth is Lucario. In all my previous attempts, I would get to Lucario and get taken out with extreme speed. Luckily, I don't have to worry about that as Fire Punch takes it out. That brings out her best Pokemon, Garchomp. In the previous attempt, I got a run where I had 3 HP left and close combated for the victory, only to find out that her Garchomp has rough skin. That ended up costing me the battle and making me want to chunk my Switch into the trash. I go for a close combat, and since all of my needs in order to win were met, I was able to get the dub with a ton of HP. So that was the run. I want to take a minute and say that I debated uploading this since I lost the recording for the battle with Fantina. I've had this sitting in my storage for literally almost a year, but decided it was better to post it than not. I'm not sure if I'll do another one, but if this video gets a ton of views compared to what I normally get and a ton of likes, I may upload more like this. I need to find out how to start with Pokemon I want to play with, but that's a problem for another day. It's my first time doing a video like this, and I spent a ton of time and effort on it. Hopefully you guys end up enjoying the video and my voice wasn't too monotone since it's usually not. Anyways, thank you for watching the video. Let me know in the comments what you guys think I should do next, if I need to do another run or not, or if I need to try this with another Pokemon. As always, thank you for watching and have a great day.